Alrighty, welcome back everybody to another Modern Horizons Supreme Draft. Let's get started, shall we? Ooh, this is definitely a pack that's screaming slivers to me. Yeah, Lava Belly Sliver and Spiteful Sliver are both great as far as slivers go. There's a Shinobi and a Man of War, which is also really good for blue, but these are higher rarity. So let's do slivers. Let's see how we do with slivers. Oh my gosh, Bear Force 1. Ingenious Infiltrator is fantastic. First Sliver's Chosen is okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take these two cards. So we have two ninjas here. And if the next couple of packs lend themselves more towards ninjas or more towards slivers, we'll go those directions. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Okay, first Sliver's Chosen, or Soul Herder, and Lancer Sliver. Okay, I'm gonna take Lancer Sliver and Man of War with this whole strategy thing that's happening here. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of First Sliver's Chosen. Genesis is great, but I don't want to be playing green. Okay, now I'm gonna try and decide into this pack. There's an Irregular Cohort and Imposter. Is there anything we would want to play if we were playing ninjas? Maybe Defile? Cabal Therapist is fine in ninjas, it's just not great. It is an evasive 1-drop, which is what you want to have if you're playing Ingenious Infiltrators. Oh man, slivers are fun, but so are ninjas. We did ninjas before, and they were like really brutally powerful. Oh man, I have completely spiked the CPU. Well, I hope this video recording turns out okay. I think we're gonna go slivers. Splashing Ren and 6, of course. Slivers splashing Ren of 6. Ren and 6. Which means we're not playing Graveshifter, Ingenious Infiltrator, or Man of War. Universal Automaton is very important when you have Valiant Changeling, because being able to play a 1-1-on-1 and a 3-3 double strike on turn 2 is amazing. Unsettled Mariner, also technically a sliver. I will take it because I'm going to be looking for like astrolabes and ways to fix mana. Potentially not though, because Cloud Shredder Sliver is amazing. This is like one of the reasons to play slivers. And On Thin Ice is amazing removal, which I'm going to take, and now we have to prioritize taking snowlands that are red or white. I will take another Spiteful Sliver. This card is pretty great, and multiple of them is absurd. And I will take an Imposter, as that is a cheap sliver. Dissident Mage is great. Man, we could have had multiple Ingenious Infiltrators, and that would be nuts. Changeling Outcast is technically a sliver, and I guess Answered Prayers is fine. Answered Prayers is good in the aggro matchup. Dragonheart's great, but I don't have anything that I want to sack, is the problem. It's better in black-red than it would be in red-white. Lancer Sliver's pretty fantastic. Still no on-color snowlands. Altar of Dementia. We don't have any, like, power-pumping slivers, but Altar of Dementia is a good alternative win condition in a deck like this. We just need, like, 2 cleaving slivers to be great. Sarah the Benevolent. Definitely taking that, because at worst, it's a 4-mana Sarah Angel, and at best, with Cloud Shredder Sliver, it's absurd. And I'm going to take Snow-Covered Plains because we do have On Thin Ice. Okay. Urza's Rage and Irregular Cohort. Waterlogged Grove is off-color. Snow-Covered Island we're probably not playing, even with Unsettled Mariner. Fists of Flame, Lava Dart, Orcish Hellraiser, all fantastic aggro cards. Same with Ravenous Giant, but I think this is better. Pelashik Mons. We do have a couple of Changeling cards between Automaton, Imposters, and Unsettled Mariner if we happen to play it. It's also a Snow-Covered Forest and an Astrolabe. Okay, I think I have to take Enduring Sliver. And I think I have to take Pelashik Mons. It's just too good not to. Okay, Rock's Veteran is an absurdly good aggro card. And so is Pyrophobia. Aria of Flame, we're not really doing the Storm thing. Tempered Sliver could be a reason to splash green along with Ren and 6. It's not a bad Sliver Lord effect. We're just kind of getting heavy in the 3-drop slot. And slivers, we want to be a little bit lower curve if we can. You know what? I'm going to take Rock's Veteran and Tempered Sliver. Let's do it. Archmage's Charm, we unfortunately cannot play. Cleaving Sliver and Snow-Covered Mountain, I think, are where we gotta be with this one. Settle Beyond Reality and Firebolt are both absurd removal spells in a deck like this, but we need Snowlands to turn on Thin Ice, and potentially a Astrolabe if we can get one in the last few packs here. Force of Vigor, Force of Virtue, Igneous Elemental, off-color Snowland. I actually really like Force of Virtue, because like even if we're not alternative mana costing this, it's still good. Igneous Elemental is absurd, but we don't really have a way to get lands into the grave. Quakefoot Cyclops is playable. We could take another Answered Prayers. I think we just take these two, though. Okay, second to last pack. Orskill Guardian, Bogarden Dragonheart, Goblin Champion. All three of those are good. Orskill Guardian, though, is going to be too expensive, I think. So I think we take Bogarden Dragonheart and Goblin Champion. Okay, last pack. Sword of Sinew and Steel. We don't have too many enters the battlefield effects, so Ephemerate's not great. I think the pick here is Universal Automaton. Because Universal Automaton also helps us with Valiant Changeling. It's a Sliver for all of our Sliver effects. It's a Goblin for Palashik Mons. We don't have a lot of removal. We are going to be very aggressive. Otherwise, I might take Pyrophobia here. Anytime you can pick up a sword is generally good. And Sinew and Steel, I think, is the worst of the two swords in this set. But it's still a sword. Like, it's still good, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll take those two. Oh, we have one more pack. No? Okay. For some reason, I was like, I think it's just because Moto's going slow because of the recording and video processing happening at the same time. Oh, that's going to take a while. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to review this footage to make sure the footage itself is not chugging along. But first, we're going to edit our deck. So we need to cut like 6 cards. Honestly, we're probably not playing green. We have so many creatures. And while these cards are really good, we don't have a way to really take advantage of Wrenn and 6. Quickfoot Cyclops, probably a little expensive. I really like all of our non-creature spells, but we do not have a lot of creatures that increase our power, so I think Altar of Dementia is actually kind of bad. Maybe not. Maybe it's actually really good. We have 2 automatons. I'm not cutting them because of Changeling, Valiant Changeling. We need to cut probably 1 creature. 1s and 2s I think are off limits, so let's look at 3. Okay, wow. Maybe we cut the sword and only run it against black and red decks, because it's only good if it grants us protection or if our opponent's playing a lot of artifacts or planeswalkers. Yeah. I know I said, like, oh, if you get a sword, you should totally run it, because, like, absolutely can destroy decks if they're running either of these colors as removal. The alternative would be to cut, like... I don't want to cut Urza's Rage because we need removal. Maybe we should cut on Thin Ice because we only have 2 Snowlands. And this could be just a dead card in our hand. Which sucks, because this is exactly the kind of removal this deck would want to play. 1 mana can nab anything. I think it's too high upside to cut, even if it's a little bit inconsistent. I'm gonna cut... I guess Answered Prayers is our least aggressive card, but we can run it in the aggro matchup. So 6 red sources, 9 white sources. That kind of makes sense because of all of the double white cards. I'm going to cut 1 plains for 1 mountain. I think having 8 white sources is fine, because we don't... Like, there's a possibility we need double white on turn 2, and we don't have any, like, prismatic vistas or anything like that, but... Okay. Alright. I will see you all in round 1. Alright, well, my brave recording experiment seemed to be just fine, so I apologize for any detectable degradation in video quality, but I couldn't find any spot checking. So, round 1, here we go. Alright, we only have 1 castable card, but 1 land gets us to 2 Spiteful Slivers, which is amazing, and 2 land gets us to Sarah, probably. So we're going to keep. Okay. Opponent starts island. We draw another imposter, which I guess would be one of our better draws, considering, you know, other than a land. Opponent plays a forest. We draw a mountain, which is good. Play imposter. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Springbloom Druid, which is not something we want to attack into. They sack a forest, and they get 2 Off-color lands. Wow, okay. Play a mountain. Lancer Sliver was an excellent top deck because that does let us attack. Okay, hit them for 3. I assume they're not blocking. They could block if they have like a Dead of Winter. Alright, my opponent might have a Dead of Winter, which would be bad. Reign of Revelation, main phase. So they're trying to hit a land, and they're... I mean, obviously they're not going to have any combat tricks. They discard Ayula's Influence. Respect, opponent. I love that card. We draw a regular cohort. We're going to play a Spiteful Sliver, just in case my opponent has any damage-based or fight removal. Go to combat. Hit them for 5. They cycle a Tranquil Thicket. And take 5, go to 15. Alright, Abominable Treefolk is pretty bad for us. However, attacking with Spiteful Sliver would allow us to do 6 damage to our opponent's face. Sword of Sinew and Steel. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the other Spiteful Sliver. And now we can attack with both of these. And if my opponent blocks, they take 12. Alright, my opponent can no longer attack as long as our Spiteful Slivers are up. So they gotta have some kind of removal or they're just out of this game. Dead of Winter. Okay, so they do have Dead of Winter. I generally try not to play around Rare Wraths, but at the same time, the odds of my opponent having that card was like kind of medium. It's a little higher in this format, and maybe I should start playing around it during Supreme drafts, like Rare Wraths, I mean, because... yeah, okay, we're going to play Cleaving Sliver. I should start playing around Rare Wraths simply because there are so many chances, at least 18 chances to hit a rare as opposed to normally 3 or 6, depending on how you want to measure that. Okay, opponent settles beyond reality. And I think we are probably boned now. They have an Iceberg Cankrix. They hit us for 8, we go to 5. But we don't have an answer for that Treefolk unless we top deck On Thin Ice right now. There it is. So, On Thin Ice, a snow-covered mountain to exile Abominable Treefolk. And then we'll play Sword of Sinew and Steel. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Plains and mills us. Opponent mills Lava Belly Sliver and Enduring Sliver. 5 mana, they've got a Conifer Worm, and we cannot beat a Conifer Worm. I mean, we could, if we could get down Sarah and Worship, but the problem is my opponent's going to hit us for 14 or more next turn, so best not to show that we have Sarah. Okay, do we want to adjust? Probably not. I think we just need to keep a aggressive hand. Yeah, I think we just need to keep an aggressive hand, like Universal Automaton into Valiant Changeling, kind of aggressive. We do have to really be aware of Dead of Winter, which sucks. Alright, we'll play first. That is not an aggressive hand. This, on the other hand, is. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to put back Sword. Well, I'm going to put back Urza's Rage. Sword is actually better in the event that my opponent does have a board wipe of some kind. Our opponent mulliganed as well, which is good news for us. Okay. Start Plains, Universal Automaton. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an island. We draw Sarah the Benevolent. Play a mountain. Go to combat. So if we could top deck land, just right in a row, that'd be amazing. They play Iceberg Cankrix. We draw another Automaton, which is at least something we can play. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent mills us. Milling Lava Belly Sliver and a Plains. They play an Astrolabe, and they're going to mill us again. Lancer Sliver and Dragonheart. At least there's no lands in that one. Winter's Rest. Okay. And land. One of our snow lands, so we have only one snow land to hit On Thin Ice with, which sucks a lot. We draw a mountain, play a mountain, and the question is, do we play a creature or do we play the sword? I think we gotta play the creature. Pass the turn. The problem is, with them milling us and definitely having the snow permanents to mill us, worship mode on Sarah is not actually that great because our opponent can win in alternative ways. Okay, Frostwalla. We need to draw a second Plains, and very rapidly. That is not a second Plains. Alright, play the sword. Pass the turn. We can at least destroy the Astrolabe if we ever connect with the sword. Okay, opponent plays a Wall of Blossoms. They draw a card. And pass. We untap. We draw a Mountain, which is not a second Plains, but is still a card that is playable. Suit up the Sliver. Go to combat. Attack for 4 with first strike. Okay. We kill the wall. I was actually half expecting an Ephemerate there for them to just draw like a million cards. Alright, pass the turn. I'm not going to bother re-equipping. I think faking something with the mana is actually better here. Because my opponent is not going to win by attacking. They're going to try and win by milling us out. Springbloom Druid. Okay, so my opponent will have black mana. They sack a non-snow land so that they can get 2 snow lands. Yep. We mill 4. There goes Cloud Shredder Sliver, which is another way I was kind of hoping to win. And On Thin Ice is now a dead card because all of our snowlands are in the grave, which really sucks because we have a completely dead, cannot cast or do anything card in the deck. We untap and draw Cleaving Sliver. So, play Cleaving Sliver. We kind of just have to really hope that our opponent does not have Dead of Winter, because Dead of Winter will be a one-sided board wipe. And hoping that your opponent doesn't have their good cards is never a good strategy to have. But destroying the Astrolabe is not quite as high value because it was kind of important if we could do it to take them off and keep them off black mana. But they have black mana now that we can't interact with in any way, so it doesn't really matter as much. I mean, I guess we could reduce the number of snow permanents from a bunch to 1 less than a bunch, but... Okay, opponent chumps, as expected. Okay, opponent plays Abominable Tree Folk, tapping our largest sliver. Milling Goblin Champion and Plains. You know, our opponent has somehow milled, like, so many Plains. We untap and draw Imposter of the 6th Pride. That is a 10-10 with Trample. Play Spiteful Sliver. Go to combat. And attack. Once again, when your only plan relies on your opponent being bad, it's not a good plan. But that's kind of what we're doing right now. Okay. Opponent trades with the Oh no, they do not. They just chump the Cleaving Sliver. Take no damage and pass. There's no reason for them to pump there. I was thinking there was, but I forgot we had first strike. Abominable Tree Folk down to the much more reasonable 9/9. Oh man, Settle Beyond Reality. There goes our other Spiteful Sliver. And they exiled the first one as well. Alright, we untap. We only have 9 cards left in our deck. And we can't draw a second Plains to save our life. Literally save our life. Yeah. Alright, our opponent has us. We can't get through that Tree Folk. Well... I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. Alright, we'll play first. Not really keepable, unfortunately. This, on the other hand, is. So we're going to keep this. We're going to put back a regular cohort. We're going to start Plains Universal Automaton. If we draw another Plains, we have a turn 2 Valiant Changeling, which is amazingly good. If we don't, we have Cloud Shredder Sliver. Alright, we untap. We draw a Snow-Covered Mountain. So play Snow-Covered Mountain. Play Cloud Shredder Sliver. Go to combat. And attack for 2. We draw Plains. So this is a little bit absurd here. Play Valiant Changeling. Go to combat. And attack for 8 with Double Strike. Or 4 with Double Strike, 8 total damage. And opponent concedes. Oh man. If we had only had that kind of hand versus the snow opponent, we probably could have just savagely beaten. Alright, so opponent is playing Boros, no spells. At least as long as we play our spells fast enough, so just run this back, I guess. I can work with this. Pelashik Mons is fine to curve into, as our first 2 creatures of this game will technically be goblins. Okay, start Plains, Universal Automaton. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Imposter of the 6th Pride. We draw Rock's Veteran, which would be an amazing 4-drop. Attack for 1. Okay, opponent plays a Mountain. Plays a Spiteful Sliver. And gets in for 3, sure. Take 3, untap. We'll play a Snow-Covered Plains. Now we could play Bogardan Dragonheart if we wanted to just get in 4 damage, but I think Palashik Mons here is better. Because this way we can attack with Imposter. They can deal 3 damage to our face, but we'll kill both of their creatures if they do. And they lose their higher value creature as well. Now, Rock's Veteran is really good, but I keep getting it confused with a different card that's very similar. I think there's also a 4-mana 2/4 with Battlecry that taps something when it enters, and I always think Rock's Veteran is that card, but Rock's Veteran is actually better. This opponent Firebolts, which lets us kill their Imposter of the 6th Pride. Pyrophobia, so we'll ping them for 1. They attack for 2, that's fine. We untap, we draw Plains. Play a Plains, and I think the most damage over time we're going to get is by playing Rocks, specifically because we can tap their Sliver if they leave it back to block, which prevents us from taking damage. Opponent appears to be constrained on mana as well. So they have Reprobation. They get in for 2, sure. We untap, we draw a Lava Belly Sliver, play a Plains, and we're going to play Cleaving Sliver this turn, because if we draw a Mountain, we can play both of these next turn. Okay, go to combat, attack for 5, pass the turn, opponent plays a Plains, does not attack, we draw Mountain, okay, play Lava Belly Sliver, ping our opponent for 1, play Bogardan Dragonheart, and we will be sacking our Reprobationed Rock's Veteran, and this should be lethal. Go to combat, attack with everybody. Now, if my opponent has Wing Shards, I lose. Which, considering they left up all their mana and have double white, they probably have. Okay, Force of Rage. Force of Rage is infinitely better to have to deal with than Wing Shards. So opponent trades and trades. That's fine. They take 4 and they'll go to 2. Next turn we can just sack something to can just sack something to Bogardan Dragonheart unless my opponent plays their 5th land and flashbacks Firebolt, or has some alternative removal than that. Alright, opponent concedes. Cool. Round 3. See you guys there. Alright, round 3, here we go. I would love to play first. We don't have a good curve, but we have double of both colors and cards we can play, so I'm going to keep. Okay, start Mountain, pass the turn. Okay. Play Plains, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain into a Scour All Possibilities. We draw on Thin Ice, but have no snowlands to play it. Play Spiteful Sliver, pass the turn. Okay, opponent Firebolts, so we will deal 2 damage to them. We draw a Force of Virtue. Yeah, I think we've got to try Cleaving Sliver here. I might just, on Thin Ice, exile it to Force of Virtue, because if my opponent's playing blue-red, they probably have small creatures anyway. And Force of Virtue is a very strong effect. Okay, opponent plays a Snow-Covered Island. I'm going to do it. Okay, play a Plains, go to combat, and attack for 5. Play Palashik Mons. Okay, opponent does have a Prohibit. 3 mana. They could have an Urza's Rage. Geomancer's Gambit. They're going to fix their own mana. Looks like they need double red for something. Not sure what that would be, but... Okay, we untap. We draw a regular cohort. Play a Mountain. Go to combat. And attack for 5. Opponent goes to 8. Play a regular cohort. Alright, and we got there. This opponent is playing blue-red. Yeah, I don't think that we adjust. Alright. We will keep. No Valiant Changeling on turn 2, unfortunately. But this is an okay curve. I'd like to draw something I can play on turn 2. We have 2 draws to hit that as well. Sword of Sinew and Steel is not terrible. Play a Universal Automaton, pass the turn. Okay, opponent firebolts immediately. Cloud Shredder Sliver is good. That's going to make the rest of our curve pretty fantastic. Hopefully our opponent does not have another removal spell. Okay, they play Prismatic Vista, and they pass. We draw Cleaving Sliver. So play a Mountain, play a Lancer Sliver. Okay, so opponent does have a counter spell of some kind. Probably Exclude. That's the only thing I can think they would need 3 mana for, unless it's a Spell Snuff. But I would not... Yeah, okay. Unless you have nothing else to play, I would not be playing Cancels versus Slivers. Not without a ton of onboard removal. Okay, opponent plays a Mountain. Geomancer's Gambit. They're going to swap it into an island? Or unless they just really need to draw. Okay, they have forests in their deck. So my opponent could have a Ice Fang Quaddle, but Lancer Sliver plays around this. Okay, opponent takes 3. Now, unless my opponent firebolts Cloud Shredder Sliver, which I'm almost certain they would do if they have another land, they're going to take 1,001% damage by us playing this Cleaving Sliver. Yeah, okay. So they kill the Cloud Shredder Sliver. We untap, we draw Plains, play a Plains, and play Cleaving Sliver. Hit them for 4, take them to 10. Opponent plays Igneous Elemental so they can snipe down our Cleaving Sliver. Really hoping to draw another land so we can land and equip this sword. I feel like that would be very good versus our opponent's deck, because it looks like all of their onboard removal is red. Okay, opponent scours, so we don't have to worry about a counter spell at the very least. Okay, we untap. We draw a Mountain. Perfect. Play sword. Equip sword. Hit our opponent for 4. Okay. Opponent may not have an answer to this. Nope, they do. Okay. We're at a high enough life total, and our opponent is sort of running out of cards. They do get to flashback Scour, though, to get back at least another card out of their deck. I don't know what I'm saying. English is a very tough language for a primary speaker of English. We draw Plains, we'll play Plains. Then I guess we play both of our creatures here. Pass the turn. Okay, they Winter's Rest, Enduring Sliver. We untap, we draw Plains. Play a Plains, equip Palashik Mons. If my opponent has removal, we just activate his ability. So sack Palashik Mons to his own ability, deal 1 damage to our opponent, and we get 2 1/1s out of the deal. I feel like my opponent should have done that on their turn, just so we couldn't do this and get more creatures that can wield sword. Which might be a fatal mistake on our opponent's part, but if they have more removal, this is fine. Okay, they have a Hex Drinker, which they can make big enough to just block anything wielding a Sword of Sinew and Steel, which is really annoying. We might lose to a Hex Drinker. Okay, they're leaving up Cancel mana. We draw Plains. Well, move Sword over. It's kind of the reasonable thing to do here. Pass the turn, we're going to hold on to a Plains. So next turn, my opponent will level up Hex Drinker into a creature that says protection from everything. And I'm trying to think of how we get out of this. We don't have Cloud Shredder Sliver. Okay, opponent has a 6/6 with protection from everything. We untap. We keep drawing lands. So we're basically dead in the water until we draw a creature with flying, or enough creatures that we can swing around this. Okay, opponent drew a Mountain. No attacks. We draw Irregular Cohort. Okay, play Irregular Cohort. Opponent kicks Prohibit. Okay, pass the turn. I think our best draw is probably Sarah, because it gives us a Sarah Angel that can't be immediately burned. But of course Sarah would have to resolve. That would be the caveat, right? We draw Bogarden Dragonheart. That kills our opponent immediately if not dealt with. So sack Lancer Sliver. Gonna make this a 4/4. Move over Sword. So unless my opponent has a Magmatic Sinkhole again, they do. Okay. Pass the turn. I guess I should have sacked the other sliver just in case we drew more slivers and we wanted them to have first strike. When it draws and plays a land, they're slowly losing resources in their hand. Stream of Thought. Kicked. Okay, so we mill 8. Which is pretty bad. So there goes Sarah and Lava Belly Sliver, as well as Valiant Changeling. Valiant Changeling would not do much. We draw Imposter. So play Imposter. Pass the turn. At least we could start outlasting Imposter, but I don't think that's going to do much. Okay, opponent plays a Thundering Djinn, which is a problem. Draw Rocks Veteran. So Outlast. Play Rocks. Pass the turn. Rocks might actually be enough to win. Kind of depends on what our opponent plays this turn. Because we could tap one of these two, and then opponent would block here. Yeah. So unless they have removal or a way to kill us, we're dead. Opponent milled us. Yep. Okay. Well, last card in hand was a Stream of Thought. And they drew the last island they needed. So we lose. Okay. Hex Drinker, huh? Kind of want Altar of Dementia, but my opponent is shuffling cards back in, so milling them would not work very well. Alright, let's just try and get a really fast hand, and that should do it. Alright, we'll play first. Okay, we're going to keep... Unfortunately, we don't have any snowlands, so this is kind of a mulligan to 6, but it's not a bad mulligan to 6. We have a 3-1, and we have a removal spell, so... Start plains, pass the turn. Opponent starts island. We draw Irregular Cohort, so hoping we draw another plains, but kind of hoping we draw another land at this point. Okay, opponent cycles Lonely Sandbar, plays an untapped mountain. We untap, we draw Sarah, which will be amazing if we get another plains. Hit our opponent for 3, down to 17. They play an island. Geomancer's Gambit. They're probably going to change the island into a forest. Nope. Mountain. They want double red for some reason. This is kind of throwing the spell away, but I am going to burn them. Okay, we draw Enduring Sliver. Go to combat. Hit them for 3, take them to 11. Urza's Rage was not a good idea because unless we played something that turn, it was pretty much a waste. But most of our deck is something we could play right now, so felt that was fair. When I can take out the 3-1 or the 2-2, they take out the 2-2. We untap. We draw Lava Belly Sliver. So play Lava Belly Sliver, ping our opponent for 1, gain 1. Not attacking currently. That may have been a mistake. Actually, I probably should have attacked there. Okay, opponent plays an island. They're tapping out for a Djinn. We untap. Really hoping for a plains here. Okay, Lancer Sliver is good. Play Lancer Sliver. Ping our opponent. And if we top deck any land for Cleaving Sliver next turn without suffering a board wipe, we should be fine. Opponent can attack with Thundering Djinn and kill Imposter, which is bad, but they can't stop us from having first strike, without other cards at least. So they kill the 3-1, we're going to take a bunch, we untap, we draw plains, play plains, play Cleaving Sliver, please no counterspell. Okay, bring our opponent for 1, they go to 8, go to combat, attack for 8. So they probably have a sinkhole here, which if they kill Cleaving Sliver, they can get a free block on anything, and then they'll only take 2 and go to 6. But our opponent's deck is a very good, like, Teamer tempo. Oh, Reign of Revelation, okay. They could still have Magmatic Sinkhole. This lets them have Magmatic Sinkhole if they draw it. Because the Reign of Revelation will go to the grave, they'll discard a card, and then they'll have enough to delve out a removal spell. But the fact that they cast that first means that they were probably having to dig for it. Okay, they found it. Yep. Opponent spies the correct line. Gets a free block on Lava Belly Sliver, takes 2 damage. We kind of need to top deck a Snow-Covered Plains, which is a 1 in 27 chance. But I think that's actually the only way we're going to come remotely close to winning this game. This opponent's going to attack us for 8. We untap. We draw a regular cohort. So play a regular cohort because we can threaten to block down this Igneous Elemental, and we're trying to draw out any remaining counter spells they might have before trying to land Sarah. Okay. Not to mention we want to minus Sarah, and Thundering Djinn attacking will kill Sarah after she minuses. Opponent plays a land. No attacks. We untap. We draw Sword. I think we gotta wait till we have a 5th mana to play Sword. I think Irregular Cohort this turn is slightly better. Play a second Irregular Cohort and pass. We're very, very close here. Okay, we untap. Draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. Play Sword. Okay, opponent has a counter spell. Pass the turn. Actually, do we attack? If we attack, they go to 2. And this is why we didn't attack and play Sword, because if we had dealt the damage, they could have drawn a card off of Spell Snuff. That was actually something that I was thinking about, I just didn't say out loud. Yeah, I think we have to. Okay, opponent blocks and blocks. Takes 4 and goes to 2. No, they have something else? Oh, they have to use a Magmatic Sinkhole here to save some life. Okay, they take 2 and go to 4. Alright, pass the turn. They pass, we draw. Universal Automaton. So play Automaton. Play Sarah. Opponent has a million spell snuffs. Okay, pass the turn. So we did our best to play around that counterspell, but opponent has like 2 or 3 of these in their deck, as well as a Prohibit as well. Like a Prohibit and I think that's it. Okay, opponent attacks with Thundering Djinn. Going to kill our 1/1 while they have the chance. Okay, we go to 9. We untap. We draw another Universal Automaton. So play it. Actually should have held that in hand in case we drew Cloud Shredder Sliver, but I did not think of that. Okay, so opponent's going to do the same thing they did last turn. Kill Automaton. Now if I draw Cloud Shredder Sliver, I'm going to be very angry because that would have been lethal had my opponent did nothing. Rocks Veteran. Alright. Play Rocks Veteran. Another counterspell. Okay. I mean, like, if you can resolve threats and then just hold up more counterspells than your opponent draws cards, I mean, so that's a way to win. Opponent attacks with both creatures now. There's no reason for them not to. It's not like we could have a path, but they're playing it super safe. And they probably just have a burn spell, like Firebolt for lethal. No. And because we never drew a snow land, we lose. Lame. Alright, well we shouldn't probably have taken On Thin Ice. Well, we took it when there were still a number of packs left and we were hoping for Snowlands. But like, some of the other cards we were picking were just straight better. And unfortunately, we go 1 win in this league. That's very disappointing. I think we probably could have had a better deck than what I drafted. I don't think I made too many mistakes during the draft, but I definitely kept at least one bad hand, and that's something that I'm trying to improve on. I have not been mulliganing as effectively as I should, which is disappointing to me, but I'm going to focus a little bit harder on doing that, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We had a lot of close games that we ended up losing, but, you know, what can you do? If you did like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and if you want to see more videos like this, just let me know. I stream on Twitch, same username on there as you can find me on here, 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I think that's all I got at the moment. See you guys next time. Bye!